Welcome, fellow Lushes. Come on in, pull up a bar stool, and enjoy some cocktails with Dimples and the Beard.
Done.
Oh, hello there.
Well, hello.
Hey there.
Hello.
I got to shag a cat off my chair. You gotta
Oh. Hey, they want in on it.
Right?
Yeah.
I got something to say.
Is the cat in the movie?
No. It probably would be better if he was, because he's an awesome cat.
Yeah. Is trained and everything?
You know, it's a Maine Coon cat. And I don't know if
Oh.
you guys like cats or not, but Maine Coon cats are like the golden retriever of cats. They
Okay.
talk to you, they play fetch with you, they follow you around, swat at your feet if they want attention. They're very smart. They're awesome cats.
And then
So-
just give you that look and walk away when they want nothing to do with you.
Well, you know, they're great because when they want to have something to do with you, they come to you. And when
Yeah.
they don't, they just go to sleep. It's like,
That's perfect. That's
and they
perfect.
poo in a box.
Right? That's perfect too.
Yeah. So what's going on with you guys? What are we talking about tonight?
Let's see. What should we talk about? The Chicago Bears?
You guys got anything going on?
Well,
Like,
other than marketing our movie,
There you go.
Excellent.
that's been interesting, and talking to filmmakers about potential synergies. And Lorissa's working on a new script, and we're trying to figure out what the next step would be with the next movie, because the independent film business it's tough.
Absolutely.
It's tough to monetize
Yeah. I
what
can
you're
only
doing.
Imagine.
Especially these days when things are changing so rapidly, and the monetization that we're getting back is being cut at every turn.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so it's interesting
For all creatives,
For all
streaming.
creatives. It's not just us.
Sure. Well, that's absolutely one of the things is to how to get something started, what you went through to get the film made, and cannot be an easy process.
No, it's
but
really,
it doesn't stop you from wanting to do it again.
Well, let's get everybody introduced first.
yeah.
Before we
Okay.
truly get into the
We
we're terrible about that part.
we just start talking.
Right. So we are joined by CJ and Lorissa Julianus. Am I saying the last name correctly?
Yes.
Perfect. And you two are the power couple who created
The Misadventures of Mistress Maneater.
Thank you.
Boom.
I was nervous about saying that wrong at some point tonight. There's too many M's in that title. I was nervous I was going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of people trip on it.
A lot of people just call it Mistress or Mistress Maneater, so whatever.
There you go.
Well, it's a very intriguing title, that's for sure.
It definitely draws you in right away with the title. Who came up with the title?
I did,
Okay.
and it was after probably years.
I originally was just Mistress Maneater, and then he's like, no, it needs to. People need to know it's a little more fun, and so he came up with the Misadventures.
Yeah, and then we went back and forth with the title because, we had a lot of people saying, well, it's too long, it's too much. It reminds me of the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which we're like, what? They have the same first letter, but it's not.
Yeah.
And then our distributor, our film agent, one of them loved the title, the other one hated it. So, so we had a huge kind of Facebook contest of who could come up with a better title for the movie.
Because we'd all been trying.
We'd been trying for years, and the closest that we got was Beauty and the Priest, which we didn't like that because, as you know, porn movies often use
Yeah.
takeoffs on that, right? So we didn't want to do that,
Um,
and so we
understandably so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see it.
Yeah, interesting.
Well,
so
I think it's a great name. Like I
I do
said,
too.
right from the get-go, as soon as I saw the title, I had seen the title on Amazon before Adrian had talked to us about you.
Oh,
really?
good. That's
And I was like-
encouraging to hear.
And I was like, I got to watch that just based on the title alone. I didn't see a trailer. I didn't see anything. I was just like, the title just drew me in. So I think I think you got it right.
Well,
Okay,
that's
good,
always
thank you.
nice to
Good to
hear.
hear that.
Thank you.
yeah. Have you watched it yet?
Oh, absolutely,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. We
Beautiful.
appreciate it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
A while ago, like almost after we talked to Adrian.
Yes.
we had watched it.
As soon as we got this thing set up, we did a viewing. So.
Oh, that's outstanding. Well, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah,
Really
absolutely.
appreciate that.
Well, we enjoy, things like that. We love movies, and we love music, and we love arts. And so independence, heck yeah. If we, any way we can promote that and help is what we want to do.
Yeah. And before we get any further, thanks to Adrian for the introduction.
Yeah.
So
Adrian's a great guy. He's a great guy.
And a good filmmaker.
Yeah, he did a really wonderful job with his movie. And we actually had a phone conversation. So as independent filmmakers, we're always looking to share tips and how to succeed and do things better and things like that. And Adrian, he had some really high production values in his film that we were really appreciative of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really enjoyed talking to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his movie too was wonderful.
So where did the script come from? Where did the idea come from?
I'll let the boss take this one.
Well, a few different places all kind of coalesced. I had just recently gotten into the Sherlock series on BBC.
Oh, okay.
And in season 2, episode 1, Sherlock encounters a dominatrix, but one who is just as smart as he is, and becomes his foil. And I was very intrigued by that relationship because I always thought Moriarty should be a woman, because not only do you have that meeting of or the battle of two brilliant minds, but there's always that sexual tension underneath.
Yeah.
And
we're all about sexual tension.
And I love getting inspired by music as I drive, because I have to usually when I'm going to gigs, it's long drives. So I had heard Maneater, both versions.
Oh yeah.
1981 and Nelly Furtado's 2006. I was like, this is kind of inspiring me for a character. And I believe at the time I was with a late friend who's since passed away, but wonderful director. We were doing I was doing hand modeling for products, and we always have the most inappropriate conversations.
Which are the best.
Absolutely.
I agree. We have several.
And I remember one day when we're bored, and I think we're doing hand modeling for children's toys of all things, and doing the video shoot. And he's like, "So Lorissa, if you were a dominatrix, what would your name be?" And I'm like, I have to think about that for a while. Maybe we've been discussing the Sherlock episode.
And now it's pretty obvious what it would be.
Right.
Well, you want to be very careful with your name for a dominatrix. That's can kill or make or break a deal.
Right.
I would think.
And so I had written the screenplay, it was supposed to be just a lark, very fun, very light. And that was in 2014. Got some coverage down of that. So professional feedback from Hollywood readers of all the things that were wrong with it. And so after licking my wounds, I decided, this does need to be deeper, and there needs to be more going on, and more background, more characters, just more.
It went from a shallow pond to a deep ocean when she wrote the novel, and then wrote the screenplay from the novel. It had a lot more going on. And since you both have watched it, there's a lot of layers to this film.
Absolutely.
More than I expected when when you started out, when the movie started out.
Yeah.
Yes. Fun, and like that. And then this just kept growing. Yeah. So.
Well, I think it's been interesting to me how many gentlemen such as yourself appreciate it, even though, let's be honest, most romantic comedies don't attract gentlemen, and most of them suck anyway.
A lot of them, yes.
Well, okay.
So
Did you say suck?
They suck. And I had a friend who I think I pitched the initial idea to, and they said, "That sounds like a romantic comedy with jagged edges." And that it kind of stuck as the tagline.
That became the byline for a while, and then we realized, with marketing, it's hard.
We learned that it's important to manage expectations.
Yes.
That's like your most important job.
Exactly.
So the people who were expecting a porn when they turned it on were really disappointed.
Yes,
true.
They were, for the first 2 minutes, they were like, "Yep, I got what I came for," and then
just about.
And then it ended like.
And believe me, we heard from them loud and clear.
Yeah. So what's interesting?
Really?
Lots of 1-star ratings from people who were like, there were no tits, there was no ass, there were no sex scenes. It's like, it's a romantic comedy, dude, on Amazon.
Did you read it's a comedy?
They read your title and went.
Well, so interestingly enough, this is for those of your listeners who are filmmakers. there is a thriving online piracy conspiracy. It's not even a conspiracy. It's like an online criminal enterprise of stealing movies. And within the first week, our movie was stolen by 840 pirate internet.
Holy cow.
Wow.
And a lot of these pirate sites were pirate porn sites.
Oh,
So
I was gonna
say,
yeah. Now, my beautiful movie that's a romantic comedy that is, you know, I mean,
And
I'm not-
relatively clean.
relatively clean. There's
Yeah,
no
it was, yeah.
Yeah, there's no nudity. There's, you know, nothing like that. So we were getting 1-star reviews from countries we were not even released in,
Oh,
from people who were expecting a porno, and they were getting a romantic comedy. So they were all irritated that they, you know, they watched for 2. Now, my wife obviously is a very attractive woman, and these, you know, knuckle draggers wanted to see her in a sex scene, and it just isn't
Sure.
going to happen.
So we
Sure.
did learn
You
a
know?
lot about the marketing aspects, and I ended up actually redesigning the poster.
okay.
Because I like, as you notice, there's a lot of night scenes for romantic comedy too. Usually romantic comedies are very bright and shiny and sunny and
Sure.
happy, and this has a darker side to it. So you know, a lot of things were shot at night, and the poster was originally against a black background. That's just my personal aesthetic.
With the serif font.
Yes, and also my personal aesthetic, but found out that just the serif font, we had an
The
offer,
serif font and the black
and the black,
and the fire.
we had a distributor make us an offer and tell us how impressed they were by our cute little horror film.
Obviously, they hadn't watched a second.
Exactly.
Obviously. So I realized, all right, I need to redesign this so that a drunk scrolling through Amazon at 3 a.m. will know this is a romantic comedy.
You know how P.T. Barnum said, nobody ever went broke underestimating the American public?
Absolutely. That's a great quote. I
And
don't think I've ever heard that. That's fantastic.
holds true
It's
for today.
exemplified in the last election in Virginia.
Yeah, well, I think it just continues to get more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was the plan the whole time for you to direct this movie? Was it a joint venture right away, or were you thinking of selling the script? Or
Yeah. So I was the artistic director of a fairly well-known theater company outside of Chicago.
And that's how we met
That's how
16
we
years
met
ago.
16 years ago.
Oh,
And
okay.
I always directed and produced live theater, and then that logically led me to directing corporate videos, industrial videos, and things like that. And I directed a couple short films, but never had tackled a full-length feature. I've
Okay.
tackled full-length theatrical productions. And so we had a real idea of what it would take to make a movie, but when you actually get into making the movie, you find out that it's completely different than anything else that you've ever done, because it's just every day.
It's Everest.
If you feel like Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the mountain, and then it goes to the bottom the next day and you got to start all over. So the plan always was, I would direct, Lorissa and I would co-produce.
I'm fortunate that Craig has directed my, or CJ, as he goes by professionally, has directed my work before on stage. We did a big multimedia musical, big epic thing. And that I wrote the book and lyrics for and produced, and he directed that. So it's like, no, the person who's best able to understand my intent and to translate it to everybody else, and I trust him the most.
We
Yeah,
trust
that makes
each
sense,
other.
yeah.
that makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was just out of curiosity, what was the name of the theater production that you did?
It was called Zenobia. So it was a musical based on the Syrian warrior queen of the 3rd century who actually defied the Roman Empire, but lived to tell about it. So kind of like a little bit of Gladiator Xena meets Prince of Egypt sort of feel, and very ambitious, very big, but couldn't have done it without lots and lots of people contributing, just like our film.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have a hard time with small, modest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bright's big.
Bigger better. So are you still doing the play? Because I thought I read that there was multi-season story arcs going on with that, or is that?
Oh
the
no,
books?
that was still different. So my show premiered 8 years ago, but because of that, I was reached out to by a novelist who'd written a series of books about Zenobia. And we ended up striking up a friendship across the country. And so that was actually what you saw was a treatment that I wrote to pitch his novels as a TV series about Zenobia.
Oh,
okay.
So it's kind of interesting. Like once you really put yourself out there and your work out there, slowly you start to connect with like-minded people.
Yeah. In our business, it's really interesting because when we were doing theater, it was very local. And you find your tribe locally with the people who are doing that kind of work. But when you break in and you branch off into film, your tribe isn't local anymore. It's actually national or international. So a lot of our colleagues and our best friends are in California and London and Dubai and all kinds of places. And it's really interesting because your circle of influence really expands when you start doing films. But even so, it's still kind of a small community.
Yeah. And this entire movie was shot in Chicago?
Right in our area, the Chicago area. We live in Crown Point, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Suburbs,
It's a
west
suburb of
suburbs.
Chicago.
Yeah.
It's considered. It's about an hour to downtown Chicago. So
Okay.
we filmed the bulk of it in the Crown Point, Valparaiso area, and then we did film some around the Chicago area as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
the west.
Using
south suburbs.
exclusively Chicago talent with a few imports from California.
I'd watched a couple movies. Well, every 21 seconds, I watched that the other night.
Oh, you did? Oh,
I did. Yeah. But I recognized some faces in that,
Right.
in your movie, and some other movies I couldn't find, but it seemed like they were the same talent within those movies.
Yeah. So we
Shannon Brown, he was in that both movies, wasn't he?
Yes.
So Shannon Brown was the lead in Every 21 Seconds.
Yeah.
We're friends with him. We've done several pictures with him. And he and his wife were a huge help with our first film.
Yeah, because they've done
Okay.
films before, and we were smart enough to know that if it's our first film, we need a lot. We need some mentoring. We need some
Mhm.
people who've done it before and have traveled that road. So we leaned on them, and they were very gracious. We hired Suzette, but she worked for pennies on the dollar.
She was our line producer, which I
producer.
highly recommend to anyone starting out, because it's like, I
You
don't know
gotta
what,
have a strong line
I didn't know what
producer.
kind of insurance do I need? How do I manage SAG? I mean, I'm SAG, but I don't know the side of how do I manage SAG contracts with my actors? How do I manage deal memos with all my, the key, or the head of various departments on the film set, like, well, all of these things, scheduling. She introduced that to me, like, this is the software you need to buy, and this is how you need to plan your day and turnaround time, and this is how many pages you can probably shoot in a day, and so on and so forth.
So we needed that information in order to have a far more streamlined set and do things really,
Sure.
really professionally. And like I said, we'd done plenty of productions before, but a feature film is a really daunting project. And seeking out people who'd been down that road before really helped us out. And we're glad that they did.
And as you saw, we had a cast of 40, so that was gargantuan.
It was
And so many different locations. That was definitely a challenge, but it adds production value.
Yeah.
As I have this, I always feel torn as an independent filmmaker, because you want to create something that is affordable and approachable, and that you'll be able to do. But at the same time, I want to create something that, if I don't know you from Adam, that I want to turn on TV when I have the choice of all these multi-million-dollar studio budgets. So to me, it has to grab me. It's great if you can make a feature film for $10,000, but I don't necessarily want to see it.
That's a tough ask.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long
long-
did it? Oh,
I think you were going to ask the same thing I was going to ask. Go ahead.
yeah. How long did it take you to film the movie? It seems like the independent ones move pretty quick.
Well, this one
It's-
was definitely a longer schedule
Yeah.
because of so many locations.
Okay.
So about
Well,
5 weeks.
It's not just the shooting that's time consuming. There's a lot of other components. So there's pre-production.
That was about 8 months.
That was about 8
Yep.
months of getting everything ready, getting contracts ready, auditioning folks, getting contracts signed, locations
Locations were
secured,
huge. Yeah.
all the preliminary stuff, getting insurance taken care of, talking to attorneys to see if we, needed to do that. Then the actual shooting was about 5 weeks.
Okay.
And then after the shooting was done, then we had all the post work to do to get it ready for the premiere. And that took about another 8 months as well. So the entire process of making a movie is well over a year. And now, because of the way the industry's evolved, once you make a movie, it's not just about making the movie and giving it to a distributor and saying, okay, we're done. You distribute it. You make us money now. That's like a myth. It doesn't exist. When you make a movie, not only do you have to be a really good filmmaker in order to have a chance for success, you have to be a master marketer. Because if you don't have people watching your movie or knowing about your movie in order to watch it, it's not going to do anything. I mean, it's like the old joke of a bear craps in the woods. Did it really crap in the woods?
Yeah,
nobody
absolutely.
saw it.
Sure. Our one of our film agents was Jeff Dowd, who's known as the Dude because The Big Lebowski was based
on his life. Yeah, it's based on.
Oh, really?
So he was the one that taught us that idea of it's all about managing expectations. And with this, it was obviously a challenge because we cross multiple genres. So we did try those other angles, but ultimately it's like, okay, there's action in it. There's MMA scenes. But if you're looking for an action movie,
this ain't it.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there's mystery and there's all these other different things, but at its core, we ultimately was like, okay, it's a romantic comedy. We have to design it as such. We have to market it as such, because I think if people go in expecting that, they won't be disappointed or have expected something else.
Right.
Okay. And if people aren't watching it, then how do you get the next one made? To your point, you want to market it so, it grows and grows and hopefully leads to bigger and better things.
Well, we're going to be married to this movie marketing it for the next probably 4 or 5 years. So what's interesting is in the old days, as you both know, the barometer of success of a movie was the box office, right? What it did on the opening weekend and how it performed after it opened. So typically it would start off way up high, right, with the money it made, and then it would go down over time. When you're doing it online via streaming, it doesn't start that way. It starts off very slow and then starts gaining momentum over the long term. Our distributor has showed us case studies where they've had a movie in their stable of movies, their roster of movies, for over a year, and it is only now starting to gain momentum after a full year of marketing and getting the word out to the public. So it's an endurance test.
And you're always growing and you're always learning, because I went to film school and that's what my degree is in, but 20 years ago. And so what I learned then is not exactly applicable to the world of streaming today.
Yeah, right. The whole game has changed in 20 years. It's crazy.
Yeah,
in 2 years.
Yes,
yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, but Blockbuster doesn't exist anymore.
Right?
People don't go to movie theaters. I mean, seriously, one of the last times Lorissa and I went to see a movie in a theater, the people in the theater were so rude.
Yeah.
I almost started a fight with somebody by telling somebody to shut up because they're trying to watch the movie. And the guy was like, I mean, I didn't know if he was packing heat, but it was just irritating.
It is. I was in a theater with my kids, and this lady pulls out a phone and was FaceTiming someone.
Oh my God.
FaceTiming?
Going. They were like, "Look, I'm watching Denzel," because it was the Magnificent Seven with Denzel Washington, and she wanted to show her friend that I'm watching the movie, and she's just talking like we are right now, out loud.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So I
have a size 10 shoe, and it will fit up somebody's ass with enough.
That's fantastic.
Try not to.
And I've seen Larissa's last Instagram picture. You have the Wolverine claws, so you'd be good too.
Right. No, I always say I just fake being a badass. I only play badass on TV.
But she is a gym rat, and she does have a brown belt in karate.
So yeah, you can take care of yourself then. You're good.
Yes.
We will not piss you off. That's for sure.
Not only do you have Wolverine claws, you did the amazing painting that's featured in the movie.
Yes, she did. And there's a story behind that.
When I watched the movie, my first question was going to be, is that a legitimate painting that you based the movie around? But then I did some research and found out that you actually painted it.
Yeah, you can see her right.
Can you see her back there?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was if you're interested in having me talk about it.
Absolutely.
I'm a gallery artist. It's something I picked up during the recession. And that took me to various gigs and things from there. So I do lots of different forms of art when I'm not acting. But that was just saving money. I've realized how many ways we've grown and how many things we've explored as artists and creatives just to either make money or to save money on our projects.
So we had an initial conversation with a fine artist that we know. And we approached him and said, hey, look, this is what we need, a Baroque style painting as kind of like the MacGuffin of this film. What would it take to do it? And his estimate was $5,000 to $10,000. Our entire budget, I mean, that was like a huge portion of our budget. So I looked at Lorissa, I said, it looks like you're painting a painting.
So I have to learn how. So I've always loved Caravaggio. So just like the main themes of the movie, they're about juxtaposition, the extreme light and the extreme dark. Our two characters, a dominatrix who doesn't want to do it and a priest.
Who both have a dark side to their personality.
Yeah, yeah. So that, just that the drama of those juxtapositions. But he was considered the father of the Baroque, Caravaggio, because of this extreme juxtaposition of light and dark. So he always had like black, dark backgrounds and a strong, dramatic light on the figures. So this, obviously a theme that goes throughout the entire movie as well. And actually, if you noticed our fight scenes, the MMA fight scenes, they're lit like Caravaggio paintings as well.
Right. Yep.
Very, now that you say that, yeah.
So I took his David and Goliath. And then I found a couple photos that were similar with a woman, kind of lit similarly, and I combined them.
In Photoshop.
Yeah, in Photoshop, lit them right, combined. So I made this composite, and then that was the basis that I used to paint the painting from, in acrylic, which I don't recommend because he obviously was in oil. And it was very difficult to make acrylic look like oil. But over the course of 4 months, I put her together, and I consider her one of my best pieces. Judith and Holofernes.
That's
now,
okay.
there's another aspect I want to talk to you about with that painting, which is really interesting. When you really take a deep dive into the script that Lorissa wrote, it's, you can watch our movie and enjoy it as entertainment. But if you want to go deeper, you can look for metaphors. And there's metaphors in that movie. And toxic masculinity is one of them. Physical intimidation, emotional intimidation, financial intimidation, that's all part of the script, along with female empowerment. So Lorissa was painting this painting, and I was just leaving her be. I have my own job and my own things that I do, but we work from home together. She's got a studio downstairs. My home office is upstairs. And she's painting the painting, and I'm just letting her paint it, and I'm not really seeing what it is. So I finally went down to check it out, and I was really taken aback because that painting is a metaphor of femininity, feminine strength overcoming toxic masculinity.
That's the original story.
Which plays right into the film. When Lorissa was making this painting,
well, that was based on, it was in the novel.
It was in the novel.
It
was in the novel, but the fact that it's a metaphor within a metaphor of the movie was not quite there and I just saw it like immediately, that's what this is. And it's interesting how serendipity plays a big part in what Lorissa and I do, because we're both artists.
Yeah.
And we see things in different ways. And her written word is something that I innately understand and can translate to other actors and help translate to film. So that painting really was, it shows Larissa's talent in another way other than her writing, which was, my opinion, is the writing of the movie is very, very well done. And of course, her acting is very, very good. So she's just got an incredible amount of talents that we showcased in the movie.
Oh, and I forgot to mention one thing, gentlemen, on the aspect of initial inspiration. So there was more that all coincided this time. I've worked for the last 13 years doing motion capture for the Mortal Kombat video game franchise and Injustice, which is like the DC Comics fighting games. And so in order to increase my value to the people I worked with, because I love doing that work so much, I started taking martial arts and randomly signed up for whatever my park district offered, which happened to be Shotokan Karate. And I had this Serbian sensei. And over time, really got to appreciate who he was as a person and his cultural background and how that influenced how he taught and his worldview. And that inspired the characters as well.
Okay. A lot of different angles for inspiration. And I by watching the movie and looking at the painting. It's a wonderful painting. All your paintings are. I see you have a page of your paintings.
You did your research.
You
so
did,
impressed.
guys. We are so impressed that you did all this research just for us.
Oh well, it just was. It was fun. It was enjoying it. I enjoy that. Learning more about people. Okay, you're an actress. Well, no, you're not just an actress. You're the producer. You're the writer. So it just continued to grow. It was fun. It was fun to reach out.
More than anything, I consider myself a storyteller, and I think that can be anything, whether you're working on sound, whether you're a composer, whether you're a writer, an artist, because I love painting. Most of my paintings have people in them, because to me, then they can tell stories.
Okay.
So being an actor, being a writer, all of that.
Did you only do the painting once? Meaning,
what do you mean?
Like the painting that's in the movie, was that the third time you did the painting,
No,
or was that
just that was it?
One, you knew what you wanted? Wow, that's amazing. It turned out incredible. It really did.
And then interestingly, she put this
Crackle glaze
over it.
Okay. Yeah.
And it didn't work the first time. It had this really weird, like milky, opaque cast to it. And Lorissa and I were freaking out that, oh my God, and then luckily we have a colleague who was familiar with how to fix it.
Like, I'll throw a far varnish over it. You'll be okay.
I'm going to fix these
okay.
like harsh.
No, there's just.
They seem really harsh. So I'm going to turn this on. And
okay. That'll be really blown out.
Let's see.
No, that one. There we go.
Is that better?
Well, now we have just the harsh light of my monitor.
Oh, well, that's okay. We're better now.
Oh, yeah. So going back to the Mortal Kombat, so that the performance capture actor, is that that whole part of that, and which is, so you're in the movie, so you do the body motions and then they record you for games.
It's a very interesting process how they do it. So every character that is in these expansive epic games that they turn out one every 2 years, there are 4 actors or 4 people go into the making of it. You have the voiceover actor, you have the model whose face they scan and then kind of recreate. You have me. So all of I have to learn the dialogue and how it's timed out in the scene with storyboards and kind of animated mock-ups. And I have to completely lip sync that, and then in the volume move for these scenes. So this is for story mode. So this is like the 3-hour story or the movie in between when the player gets to fight. So I lip sync, I provide all the facial movement, I do all the movement for the character, and then when they get to fight, that is the stunt people that they bring in. They provide those motions. So, when no one can really say, oh, I'm Katana, or oh, I'm Sonya, or I'm this character. It's like, no.
Everybody is.
You all are.
Contribute to it.
You all make them up. Okay.
Who knew there that much went into making a video game? That's crazy.
It's been fascinating because I've been in it for 13 years. So I've seen every single game. It leaps and bounds. You just look at the resolution and the definition of the features, everything from Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, which was my first game, to now.
The improvements are amazing.
It leaps and bounds with every single game. Like they used to hand animate the face. And then they started to film our faces and then hand key from that. And now we actually have head rigs with a camera right here and a light in our face.
Oh, wow.
Capturing it. And they have to clean up the data and all that. But it's just been I can't even imagine where it's going to go from here. I said, I mark my words, in 10 years, we're going to have like a little, droid robot that's hovering and flying around. I can just see it now.
So
it's coming.
Have you ever played any of the video games that you're in?
No, I have not.
We play. I play Tetris and Settlers of Catan on my computer.
Right? Perfect. Yeah.
I was not allowed to have video games growing up, so I would go over to my friends and watch them play. I get very excited about watching them play because I could not survive past the first level of Super Mario Brothers. So it's kind of pointless to have me play a game. I was so excited. I was doing motion capture for Harry Potter Wizards Unite. It's a mobile game.
Okay.
similar to Pokemon Go. Yeah. So Warner Brothers, I believe, and Niantic developed it together. So I was in Salt Lake City, and we're going out afterwards with the animators, and there's an old-fashioned arcade. So they had a Mortal Kombat 2 machine, and I was like, "Oh, I'll play as Melina," because I've done Melina for some years, and I'm like, "I won it! I actually won it! I got a fatality!"
She was holding somebody's spine.
I'm sure I was.
Yeah.
That's how you get
really
addicted.
Excited.
So I'm curious, when you're making a lower budget film, what was the biggest challenge to this movie? What scene caused you to,
Lord.
Wait a minute. How long is this episode?
We can go on and on and on and on.
How long do you want to go?
Every step is an Everest. I mean, heck, I think I had a breakdown on day 12 of shooting.
Yeah, you know what's really interesting is that there's always a process of or sequence of events that go into any production.
Sure.
Whether it's a theater production or now a movie production, you start off and you're enthusiastic and everybody loves each other and the script is hilarious and you can't wait to dig into it, and then you start doing it and you start going deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And then about halfway through it, you're like, what the hell have I done to myself? It just feels literally like I put my testicles on an anvil and handed a sledgehammer to somebody and said, go ahead.
Yeah.
And then, and so that's like midway, you get to that thing where it's like, you literally, you're going.
Here we go. I just looked it up. This is something that
the process, yes.
I had loved when I saw this 20 years ago in my theater school. And here we go. 7 stages of film production.
You take the first 3.
Let's see. Number 1, wild enthusiasm.
That's what I was talking about.
Yep,
2,
sure.
total confusion. 3, utter despair.
4, search for the guilty. 5, persecution of the innocent. 6, promotion of the incompetent. And then 7, distribution of t-shirts. So
that wraps it up. That does seem right. From what you're talking.
You run through the entire gamut of emotions with these things, because literally in the same day, you can experience the highest highs and the lowest lows in a period of a couple hours.
Sure.
Because things are constantly changing. There's constantly a brush fire that could turn into a conflagration.
Location issues.
People,
neighbors of the location swearing at you.
Seriously. First day of shooting, we're shooting in this upscale apartment complex.
Oh God.
The second scene of the movie where
when I walk in and with the security
sure.
guard.
Yeah. And so we do the scene in the elevator where she gets in the elevator and she scares the kid and the kid runs out, whatever. And
we thought we were using the right elevator.
We thought we were using the right elevator. Well, people were pissed off because they had to use the stairs to get up to the 3rd floor, and we had the elevator because we were using it to shoot the scene. And I was doing something else. I had my B team filming that particular scene.
So people were swearing at our crew.
They were swearing at Lorissa, swearing at the crew. I wasn't there. I wish I was.
I was like, okay, I learned a lesson.
And Lorissa
have an extra crew member, because we were skeleton crew. It's like, I need to have someone down there
at the elevator letting people know. But I got out to Lorissa and Lorissa had this look on her face like,
oh no.
Like, sorry.
She had to, utilize her best people skills. And Lorissa generally doesn't like people.
I'm with you there.
And it's only gotten worse over the past 4 years.
Well, for me, I just felt like, people they're not making a lot of money being on our crew or being in our cast. I took way too much responsibility for trying to make sure everybody was happy all the time.
Yeah.
Well, everything fell on your shoulders. I mean,
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was not just the director. I was also the toilet cleaner.
Yeah, right.
So that's kind of how it goes when you start.
So that's the highs and the lows of the business, is what.
Yeah. But, so we were filming the scene, everything's going great, and then I come out and I find out that there's all this drama with people being pissed off, and Larissa's like PTSD and whatever. And that was just day 1, and then we had 28 days.
And you're like,
shooting.
Yeah.
So it made you grateful for the easy days, but there were so when our Hubert, you remember when he fell in the lake?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first time he, I think he either forgot or he slipped. He had a mic pack on him.
Our sound person said, "You're wearing a lav that costs $1,800 with a microphone that costs $500. This is a rehearsal. We're going to block it. Do not fall in the lake." Well, guess what the actor did on the first try?
Oh,
He fell in the lake.
He went in the lake.
And
he didn't fall in the lake. He acted. He did the whole thing. And they immediately, the sound guy, plaintive wail, no, because it was $2,300.
And so fortunately we had insurance. That's why you have
bought
insurance.
And we got reimbursed for it. But at the same time,
I'm sitting there, and at a certain point, I'm like, you know what? So that happened. Like, what else do you say?
What are you gonna do? And then another thing happened where it's like we were filming the scene. If you remember when the guy got beat up and killed.
Yeah.
Yep.
That scene. So the henchman, the Russian henchman, I had a screen door that I closed because mosquitoes were getting in the house, but it was open prior to that, and I closed it, and he didn't even look. He walked right through it. And so that was a patio door that was completely mucked up for 2 years. Until I was like,
I just fixed it. But it was
part of the post-production fixing it.
Right.
It was amazing how we had some wonderful surprises, like actors who were just total gems and just about helping in any way they could to be part of it, to be storytellers. Like I said, not the divas, not I'm the star or I'm this, just storytellers. So we had some wonderful, like Molly Morgan. She was, if you remember her, she had dark hair. She played the reporter, so she was an antagonist. But she and I met along with her sister Bonnie Morgan when I was in LA and I was doing a reality show back in 2007.
I don't know if you guys remember, there was a horror series called 8 Films to Die For.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was After Dark Films, and they were doing this reality show for Miss Horror Fest, and Lorissa was in that.
I was cast out of Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So we met these ladies, Bonnie and Molly Morgan. Now, Molly, she's been on Dexter, she's been on Big Bang Theory, she's been on Weeds. She's very, in her family, her sister has worked with Steven Spielberg. Did you guys ever see Rings, the movie Rings?
The third one.
The horror.
Well, she's the Samara creature who crawls out of the pit.
Oh, okay.
So so they're both in the film. So they came out from LA, and Molly was such a dear. She was here the longest, but she just said, this is like a vacation for me. She's like, well, how can I help? You need help? My mother did craft services. So she's like, well, here, I'll carry this in. You need me help cleaning? Do you need me help sweeping this? I'll do whatever you need. And for us, who, we're all wearing like 10 hats and skeleton crew. It was amazing. It was so wonderful. And our crew was very devoted and very committed.
Yeah.
But the fire scene, that's the most entertaining story from.
That's right. Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
That was that had to take some.
I'll tell that story.
Crafting.
And I'll put in a few.
Lorissa cannot be silent for too long on this. So
it's very welcome.
We scheduled everything well out from shooting. So the night of our church fire, we had the fire department on the line. They were going to bring one of their engines over, and they were going to loan us their personnel, and they were going to bring an ambulance over. And we only got them for a couple of hours, and we needed to start shooting at night because it was a night scene.
Of course, we're in the middle of June.
It's in the middle of June.
So it doesn't get dark till 9:30.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we looked at the weather forecast, and it was like, oh, no. There's this giant cold front coming in Chicago. Where are you guys located?
We're actually just north of you. We're up in Wisconsin.
Oh, you are? Okay, so
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
when the
absolutely.
front comes in, it comes from the northwest.
Yep.
And when that front comes through, if it's really hot on one side and really cold on the other, you're going to have some serious weather coming in.
And it's the worst part about filming in the Midwest is the weather is so unpredictable.
Yeah. So anyway, we looked at the forecast. We saw that it was going to.
6.
Yeah, we were going to get this big front coming through at 6 o'clock, and it's going to be rainy and crappy and whatever. And I knew as a director, if everybody was wet in that scene, it was going to create continuity problems in the future.
Not to mention, okay, mic issues if they're getting wet. If
all that stuff.
we had to put up tents for the cameras because we're like, what's going to happen?
Right. So what I did is we rescheduled the day. We initially were going to show up really later on in the evening, and it was going to be a night shoot, but we couldn't do that because of the weather. So I rescheduled everything. I called the cast and crew in very early because I wanted to block those scenes. I wanted to choreograph the camera movements. I wanted to choreograph the actors. So everything was going to be like a fine-tuned choreographed machine.
So as soon as it got dark enough, it would just be go, 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 go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as soon as it got dark,
8 o'clock around.
well, it started getting, it was later.
Well, it was cloudy, so we had to
cloudy.
wait.
So it got darker sooner, but the fire engine was there, the ambulance, everybody had shown up, and we started to shoot. And this front, we're all watching our phones on the radar. We're looking at the weather radar going, oh my God, because this front was coming in just like at a diagonal, but it was a straight line coming right at us.
Oh no.
And you could see, when you look at the weather radar, you see the red and the purple and the magenta. You're like, oh my God, there's going to be tornadoes. Oh my God. And here's what happened. This front was coming at us like this. And then right in the middle of it, it opened up. Everywhere else, it was pouring. But in Valparaiso, where we were, it basically completely avoided us.
Wow.
Do you remember the director I told you about, the one who's, so if you were a dominatrix, Lorissa, what would your name be?
Okay.
He had passed away 3 years before this, and I was like, thank you, Chris.
The movie gods were literally on our side because I've never seen anything like it. It went from a straight line coming at us, and it just kind of like turned into this concave opening right around where we were filming. And we filmed 9.5 hours worth of footage in an hour and a half.
Oh,
because of the way we choreographed it.
Yeah, 2 takes, that was it.
2 takes, that was it. 2
Wow.
cameras, everything was choreographed. As soon as we got done with the scene where Lorissa was in the ambulance getting the oxygen, it started to drizzle, and within a few minutes it was pouring.
Wow. Yeah, and that's incredible. There's a lot of drama in that scene to get that all in 2 takes.
that was a
We here's the surprising thing. Like, there's certain scenes as a writer you expect this is going to be the big, flashy, beautiful, gorgeous scene, right? This is going to be the best stills. And it was surprising what those actual scenes turned out to be that were the favorites. Like in Valparaiso, the scene where Ava and Radovan meet. We're outside on this patio area, and you can see these beautiful, like white Christmas lights in the trees, and it's just lovely.
But we used a long lens.
Yeah.
So there was a long lens with that. So it had a narrow field of focus for the shots themselves, but the background was really soft, and it turned out to be just a really aesthetically pleasing shot to look at.
But the one that turned out to be our favorite scene and our favorite to look at turned out to be the fire scene, because we'd have those, the red lights that were on top of the fire engine, and the ambulance would shine on us and create, because there's a big motif of red, which I'm sure you guys will appreciate with your logo. But, this motif of red goes throughout the entire movie. Like, if you guys took a shot every time you saw the color red in the movie, you would not survive the movie.
Well, we're from Wisconsin. We might.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's another interesting thing about that scene. So all of the fire effects, they are done entirely in the camera. So what we did is our gaffer, we had PARs, and for people who are not familiar, PARs are just basically spotlights, and smaller spotlights, and
on tripods.
And what he did is he had all of these different colored gels. So red, orange, amber, even a little bit of green and blue.
So for those who don't know, that's like cellophane.
But they're colored. And so they come in like square sheets. And what he did is he cut ribbons in the bottom of these gels. So they had all these kind of like flappy rivulets of gel, And then he clipped them to a barn door on the par, and then put a fan on them to make them do this and flicker and flicker and flicker. That created the flickering of the fire effect in the windows.
So for those who can't picture it, the used cars, the blow up thing that does this outside the used car lot.
Right.
That's
That's
basically
basically what the
what the
gels
gels
were
were
doing. Now,
Oh.
what's interesting is we had probably 10 setups with gels and pars, but we only had 4 fans. So how do you get all of those,
Yeah,
all of
because
those
they-
just to flutter?
because we needed it in every single window.
So every
Sure.
person on our crew, her mother who was craft service, our costumer,
Our makeup
our
lady.
makeup artist, it was in a church. So we had them with open Bibles doing this.
Being fans.
fanning the gels to make them flutter. And then we had a couple smoke machines going, obviously. But it was so effective
Yeah.
that people were driving by, wondering if the church was on fire.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Then you know you
Yeah,
did a good job. Yeah.
Right.
It worked. They were all doing God's work. Spreading the word.
And it's interesting you brought up God's work, because we had one of our like porn trolls
Oh, geez.
went on, it was there was a site on the internet that was showing our trailer, and somebody had written, "Don't bother with this one. There's not even any nudity in it." And then somebody came on and made a comment, "You are doing God's work, sir."
Oh my goodness. You
What?
just never know out there. Yes. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God. It has been very interesting to see who responds to our ads and our trailers, and
Oh,
various videos.
Listen
and
to this
photos.
one. Oh my
So you
God.
do read them, obviously, but
Well,
you
she
got to
doesn't.
know. Oh,
She
okay.
doesn't.
Well,
Okay.
I have this philosophy that my work right now is to be a good writer and do great work for the next production, whatever it is. Write a great script. Reading something that's gonna blow up my ego. Oh, you're so amazing!
Or
You're so
hurt your
great.
psyche.
Well, yeah, I want to. It doesn't help me do the work.
Sure.
Something that's tearing me down, someone anonymous, that doesn't help me do the work, and neither does me getting full of myself and becoming self-conscious. It's like I have to concentrate on doing the best work I can,
And being humble. So
Which is good because it's garbage anyways. So,
right. So my job is to handle all of the social media.
okay.
I just give him videos and
And the
photos.
yeah, she gives me the
Their
material
stuff.
and then I put it out there. So the other night, we had a message come in on Facebook. You have a message on your movie page. And I was like, oh, okay, well, let's go take a look at this. So it was some booger eater. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
It's like, I'm looking for attractive female company tonight. It's 10 p.m. This offer is rescinded in exactly 26 minutes.
Why 26?
What?
Why not 30?
I know, right?
25?
I read this
26?
thing and I was like, literally, do you ever see the cartoons where the jaw falls on the floor and the
Yeah,
tongue
right?
rolls
Yeah.
out?
Yeah.
That was me. So I wrote him back and I was like, this is CJ Julianus writing. I don't think I'm your type. However, I'm sure you get all kinds of quality women responding to such an intriguing introduction.
Right.
However, in the interest of you, perhaps you might want to try a bowling alley bar at 3 a.m. You may have more success.
Yeah.
Then
The
he
internet.
wrote back.
Have some fun.
He wrote
come
back.
on.
Oh,
He did. He wrote a 3-word answer, and I quote, "Thanks for response." And he spelled response RESPONCE. It's very difficult to type out a message with one hand.
Oh, that's what he's guessing. No, he didn't type that. That's what Craig is guessing. By thanks for response.
Yeah, the internet is a wonderful place. I
It's the toilet of the social media is the toilet of the internet.
Sorry. So-
Lady Gaga said that. It's absolutely true.
Oh, it is. It is. I know. I saw somebody comment on one of your pictures, Larissa, that just
that's
asked
right.
if you were single. And I'm like,
Well, no,
Solid
that's
blow.
not. Well, I prefer that to the most recent one I got, which is, "Hey, I saw your movie. It was good. What's your OnlyFans?" And I was like, if you saw the movie, I didn't even respond, but I'm thinking if you saw the movie, you would not be asking that question.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
I mean,
Wow.
honestly, it's people, men.
Yeah, man, you're right.
Well, yeah.
We have not had any women come to our Instagram page and ask us what our OnlyFans is. I can tell you that.
No, they don't care if we're single. Apparently, they
No,
nope. So,
None of that.
yep, it's men. It's men. I do. I gotta collect my thoughts again because that's too funny.
Well, you
some of that
collect your
stuff.
thoughts. I got to ask. Did you get any training on how to be a mistress?
No.
Okay.
No, we had a consultant on set actually who had done that type of thing. We know nothing about that at all. I mean, we've been married for 16 years. We're very happy with each other. We you know, we don't need all the accoutrements.
Yeah.
You know,
so you know, but I wanted to be respectful to the community because being a poser. So I was like, you know, this is just an aspect of this character to push her to that juxtaposition extreme of the Episcopal priest. And you know, that, like I said, that came with its own baggage as far as marketing and the feedback you get from people as we learn. Like, maybe I shouldn't have done the dominate. I don't know. But no, we had a wonderful consultant who was like, you know, that made sure that we were doing things safely and respectfully and using the equipment properly. No, here was one of the funniest things. So we had to have a training session. Total strangers. The gentleman who played Kurt in the movie, the fiance that I set on fire. So he had to come over here. He had never met us, didn't know us from a hole in the ground.
And we set him on fire.
And it's like, okay, this is going to be like Girl Scouts. We're all going to learn how to tie knots and set each other on fire.
Fun evening.
That's a literal thing. We had no idea.
Fire play. So it was like when she suggested it to us, it was all her genius because, you know, she knew fire was a theme in the movie. And she's like, you know about fire play? You can use hair mousse and the skin as long as it's been shaved and set it on fire and it'll create a warming effect and it's really cool look. So we ended up trying like every hair mousse in creation to try to find the best look that would create the best fire.
Yeah, if anybody out there needs some hair mousse, I think we have about 30 bottles of it.
Yeah.
Because we had to buy them all because some of them don't burn. Some of them will just go poof and be done. Other ones, there's a lot of alcohol content, so they burn more.
Yeah, the
and give you the effect.
Some of these, I'm like, oh, this is so cool, and I would never put this in my hair.
Not anymore.
Right up, you know.
Well, now you know which ones to stay away from.
Yeah. Which one was the one that?
Aussie was really good.
Aussie.
It was really good for setting.
That's the good one. Okay.
Been around forever.
So that opening scene in the movie where the guy's hanging and we set him on fire.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
That was our unit production manager.
That was
our
also a SAG
actor.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That was entirely improv. So I wanted to come up with a scene.
No, it was scripted. I wrote the script for that.
We improv'd it that day, babe.
No, it was scripted.
And then we improv'd it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so where am I going with this? Okay, so we had a theme of fire in the movie, and we needed an opening scene that would also grab people's attention and segue well into the actual title.
Actually, now that I remember, that was written to be like a promo video that we were going to shoot in January, months before, but then we had a blizzard.
Right.
So it didn't turn out to be like the promo video.
Right. So, and then if you recall, Lorissa put the M for Mistress or Maneater on his back and then lit it on fire. And then it kind of segued into the computer generated titling.
Right.
We had to do that on that guy. We set him on fire probably 15 times.
Oh, wow.
Before we got it right. Because
I had to get the foam right.
The foam would like spurt and do weird things and it wouldn't light right or whatever. And so we had to keep doing it over and over. And he was a trooper because he would lay there and I would be, so we had the camera on, we had to wait to get, we had to do it in slow motion. So the fire would be slower and
so it wouldn't
see
go,
it.
So it would just have
Okay.
And I was just off the frame with a completely soaking wet towel to throw on him as soon as we got the shot. We had to do it like 15 times. So the last shot was actually the shot we used in the movie.
Oh, wow.
And it was really funny because he was very stoic and he was a real trooper. But the last take, he was like, ow.
Well, the fire went crazy.
The fire
it went big.
And then you're like, that's the one.
There we go.
Yeah.
He was fun. He was a good, like you said, to grab you when you started because he seemed like he had fun with the character.
Oh, he totally did. When we had to do a pickup for that, he had the makeup on and all that, like, because he was trying to be Dr. Frankenfurter, and then the pearls and all that. And we're like, we need to go to a lunch break. Do you want to take all that makeup off before you go out? He's like, nah, I'm good. I was like, you are so brave. I love you, man.
We went to the local Mexican restaurant with this guy dressed up like Frankenfurter.
That's awesome.
Good for him. Good for him. When you are you the director that is like one and done, or is it nope? Give me more, or try it 4 or 5 times, and then you'll pick the best one after.
I'm not Stanley Kubrick, if that's what you're asking. But I mean,
we did have like 5 or 6 takes.
We would sometimes we would do 5 or 6 takes. I think the most takes I ever did was maybe 7 or 8. But when you're filming, it's not just the actors who can mess up. It could be literally the blocking, the movement isn't right, the focus pulling isn't right, the tracking of the camera isn't right, the lighting isn't right. You view the replay and you see that the boom is in the shot and you have to read it. There's a million different things.
Or a bug is flying, or a shadow is cast out of nowhere. Yeah. So we had that sometimes even in post, where it's like I use the shot, and then once it's all blown up, we're looking at going, wait a minute, we can't. There's something in this shot that we shouldn't be in this shot. Now I have to go to another take. So sometimes we needed to have that best performance several different times because of other things going on.
And there were shots that we discovered even deep into our editing process where it's like, wait a minute, is that the boom in the tree? Yes, it is.
Oh no!
So we would have to take the shot and expand it to just get that out of the shot. So
I gotcha. Okay.
All kinds of stuff that happens like that.
And you did all the editing, Lorissa?
I did the assembly cut.
Wow.
Our DP, who's an amazing filmmaker in his own right and a co-producer with this on us, John Wesley Norton, he was the colorist. He and I worked on sound editing together. We had someone who helped with dialogue editing. Logan Norton, John's son, helped with some of the Foley. It was a very, very in-depth process, but I basically made most of the decisions about what takes to use with some input from Craig. I'm like, hey, this one or this one, which performance do you prefer?
So she put the assembly cut together, which is basically the rough cut.
Okay.
For those of you who are listening that are not filmmakers.
Sure.
And then we got into the editing room and we did the fine cuts where we took out the placeholder music, where our initial cut was 202, and then we had to get it down. We got it down to 151.
So the 3 of us together were deciding, do we cut this scene? Do we cut, usually just lines, paragraph, shots, just trying to get that time down. Because from romantic comedy, this one ran a little longer because it's not just romantic comedy. There's a mystery element that has to be tied up, the drama elements, the action elements, all of these things happen, and that takes time to tie up. It's not just this very, very basic 2-dimensional characters in a 2-dimensional conflict.
By any means, it's not. No,
but still, people just look at that runtime and go, it's too long. So it's like we had to really make it as tight as possible, which is good though, because so many indies, as you know, aren't tight. If they feel like a 10-minute short film that's been stretched.
Sure, right.
No, there was something going on all the time. For sure. You seem like it could have gone longer, but
that's what we had to figure out. Is like, what can we cut without taking away from people following the story and the logic of the plot?
What's really nice is that now that it's been out, and if you look at the reviews and you look at the comments that we've gotten on Amazon Prime and on IMDb, we have an equal number of people saying this was way too short, I wanted more, and then we have another group of people who say, it could have been trimmed a little. So that tells me that we're like right in the sweet spot.
Yeah, right. Yep, nailed it.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is your concentration all on film now? Do you have any interaction with the theater anymore?
We do lots of different things.
Yeah, we do a lot of different things. I actually just reached out to a theater company to see if they were interested in partnering for some productions. We haven't heard back yet.
Okay.
But the pandemic has screwed everything up.
Yeah.
It's been very tough especially for indie filmmakers with the pandemic. And for our day jobs, I do a lot of live event work, live gig work, and that sort of thing. Okay. So in the entertainment world, in the world of
it's
artistry.
Still entertainment.
Sure.
Sure. And I do the same. And my day job is I'm a financial advisor. So I hope people become wealthy. It's very satisfying when you see people have success with their money. So, but I'm considering giving it up and going into the entertainment business full time. So, well, I'll know probably within 6 months what I'm going to do. So I'm kind of like slowly getting into it with Lorissa, and we've had some real recent success.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
But it's doing all those varied and strange things. Like I'm doing a runway show tomorrow night. It's all those unusual things that I do that feeds my writing.
Yeah, she was a card girl at a mixed martial arts championship.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I was like, but that was after the movie. I was like, yay! I finally get to actually see a match in person.
Well, which I saw that on your Instagram page, and you're give him the pictures to post. I definitely want to make a comment that my favorite picture on your whole Instagram was the taken from the 1870s camera where you're in that.
Yes, that's one of my favorites too. Yeah, I do my own Instagram, but he takes care of the movie stuff.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
I love that shot. That was an enormous camera.
Yeah, you know the old cameras that had the big bellows.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the big piece of sheet film. Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was done on.
Love that picture. Yeah, that really stood out. That was a terrific picture.
Yeah, history is very, very important to me, and I've obviously was able to work that into the movie a little bit. But that's my favorite little niche and thing to enjoy as well in all aspects of the art world.
Yeah, and then she married an antique.
It's like a fine wine; it just gets better with age.
There you go. Well, we are obviously cocktails, so we do have a drink every night, and we didn't mention earlier that we picked the Chicago cocktail to drink tonight. Because we knew the movie was shot in Chicago, and we thought you lived there. So it's actually called the Chicago cocktail.
Oh, really? What is the Chicago cocktail? What's in it?
It's brandy, splash of triple sec, and then a pinch of bitters.
Oh, you guys are up in Wisconsin. Do you guys drink Sprecher beer?
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had Sprecher Abbey Triple?
Yes.
Oh no,
I have. It's fantastic. Yeah.
It's the best beer ever.
Yeah.
It's like 9.5% alcohol.
Yeah.
So it's
a big beer.
It will light you up.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's thicker. It tastes almost like a cordial.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, they make some good beers.
Try that one, man.
They do.
I'm not as big a fan of the IPA, but do the Abbey Triple.
Yeah, I'm not an IPA drinker, so unless they're just not very bitter at all. Now, some of these newer ones kind of.
Yeah, too bad.
But yeah.
And we're actually tomorrow night. Saturday night. So we're spending Saturday and Sunday in Chicago this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We're going down. We're gonna stay in Skokie.
The Evanston Skokie area.
Okay.
Gotcha. So Sunday we're going to a radio station there to talk with Carrie Kendall and her radio show. So she invited us down. So we'll be we're coming to visit your neck of the woods there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we love Chicago. We love going out in Chicago. Yeah, we love.
And where are you guys in Wisconsin?
We're about an hour north of Milwaukee.
Gotcha. Like Pleasant? No, that's not Pleasant.
We're in the Fox Valley area. Appleton is kind of the biggest city for us.
About a half hour from Green Bay.
Yeah.
So this is a little trivia. My cousin is the head trainer for the Packers.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay.
So if you guys follow the Packers, his nickname is Flea. And, he started off working for Bill Parcells.
Oh,
and then and now his best friend is Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so we're all connected to the Packers through that.
So are you a football fan?
You know, I used to play football.
Oh, okay.
So when I watch football, I get this pang of jealousy that I can't play anymore because I'm old. You know, so like I'll watch when it's playoff time, but other than that,
and he's very patient because I grew up in a music family, not in a sports family. Yeah. So I'm like, why are they running that way? And he'll explain. And I was like, what's the down again? Okay, why are they running? I thought they had the ball.
And then I'll mess with her, and I'll mess with her. I'll like, they take the puck and they slide into second base, and then they'll kick the basketball through the hoop.
Just totally mess them all up. Yeah. Oh, that's fun. So what's next? What do you guys got going on next? And you said, Lorissa, you're writing another script currently?
Yes, I am, but we don't know necessarily what the timeline on that is.
Sure.
But ideally, the best time to film in the Midwest is the summertime, no matter what.
May and June.
And it's also the most scenic and the prettiest.
Yeah, right.
It is
right.
for sure.
Yeah, so Lorissa has written a couple scripts already that they were very good, but they didn't have the same kind of glimmer and sheen that Mistress Maneater had.
Well, what we've learned is that, this is an Everest that just goes on and on and on and on. It's such a hard process. And, we didn't pay ourselves. And so, working a full-time job for nothing, and you deal with the abuse, you deal with the headaches, you have to love it, and you really have to believe in the project. So no matter what, it's like, I'm just so glad this story is out there and people get to enjoy this story. And so looking at a new script, it's like, it's not that the fact that we have to do everything, it's not enough for it to be good. It has, especially now that we've gone through it. It's like, do we want to go through all this again, not knowing if and what the return will be or anything like that? Right. It's like, no, it has to be something we love, that's life affirming to us, that gives us meaning. And so it has to be really spectacular. No pressure, Lorissa.
all of our theater work, when I was directing and producing theater, I always had this attitude, like, my name is on it. Produced by, directed by CJ Julianus. And I got a reputation in the theater community of always putting on really, really top-notch plays. And I would do plays that were newer. I didn't gravitate toward the Odd Couple or any of, all of the tried and true old war horses. I always did the new edgy stuff.
Nice.
And that's what I gravitate towards. But if Lorissa and I can't do something at the highest level to where devoting, like if I was doing theater, I would devote 6 months of my life to a production. But with a movie, like I said earlier, it's 4 or 5 years.
And if you're, I was working with my composer for 12 hours straight on Christmas Day. And I want to still feel at the end of those 12 hours, I want to be doing this. I'm excited to be doing this. This is worth it.
So for us to devote that kind of energy and time to a project, it's got to shine even more than the one we already did. So we're finding that out too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Is the Theater on the Hill still active today?
It is. I don't have anything to do with it anymore. We moved away from there. So
yeah, we've been affiliated for 5 years.
Yeah,
6 years.
It's been a long time. I'm happy that I did it. It was a wonderful, wonderful time in my life. But we all have seasons in our life. And that was the 10-year season of my life that was very fruitful. I met wonderful people. I met Lorissa that way.
Sure.
It changed my life in numerous ways that, just esoteric, financial, all kinds of different things. And it led me to where I am now, and I'm very happy about it. But
I was
past, and now I'm moving on to the next thing.
I was back at the theater for the first time last night since the pandemic, and it was nice.
Oh, really?
What'd you see?
Wicked is in town. So
nice.
Love it.
Yeah, I love the show. So we went last night. So it was nice to be back in that environment.
It is. I've always loved live theater.
Do you guys do theater? Are you involved with it at all?
No.
There's troops locally that I've always would love to get involved with, but.
Are you guys married at all? Or do you have significant others or anything like that?
I'm currently seeing somebody, but I've divorced. He's divorced.
I'm divorced as well.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is my theater company resulted in 6 marriages.
Oh, okay.
So I always tell people this, when, especially single people, they always say, I'm looking for somebody. I'm ready.
How do I meet?
How do I meet people?
Sure.
And, they're doing the online dating, and they're doing the Plenty of Fish and the swipe left.
We have a funny story, but go ahead.
I could never do online dating. I feel bad for people.
But I always tell people, do something. And I always use theater as an example, but it's not just theater. It's anything that you have a passion about that you want to go do to make your life better. So
what do they say? You're the most attractive to someone when you're doing what you're passionate about.
You love.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Makes sense.
So with theater, what's really lovely about theater is that it's a bunch of strangers coming together to put on a play and do something interesting that they never would be able to accomplish on their own, right?
And fun and
coming
creative.
together, 3-4 times a week. You're learning how to do the play, you're doing all that, but you're also seeing people without an agenda, right? Because they're not, when you're dating, what's the first date for people? It's a job interview.
It's an act.
It is.
Yeah, fake.
Right?
Fake it as much as possible.
Right. But when you're doing theater, you are in the moment, being yourself, trying to embody the character, being in a part of a community. And then when you start doing it for a while, then you start hanging out together. You start going to the bar afterwards, having a drink, you have cast parties, you do all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden you see people in a different light.
You see them for who they are too.
Right.
When they're working, when they're playing, when they're stressed, when they're having fun.
Yeah, if they're stressed out and they're assholes, then you're not like, okay, well,
right.
You're out.
Yeah.
But then you see other times where people are just at their very best in the worst circumstances, and seeing them do things that they love, that you love too, and it's an instant connection.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whether it's doing theater, whether it's doing music, art, whatever it is, if you're passionate about it, then there's going to be other people that are also passionate about the same thing in the same environment.
I did miss that about, I had hoped to have more of that during the filmmaking process of that,
It doesn't exist with film.
No, because film, you're just like, let's go.
Yeah.
You don't get to relax and go out for drinks and party and play games as a group.
And then sometimes you only have an actor for 1 or 2 days, whereas with theater, you're doing this together for months. So it's a completely different thing. So.
Yeah. So you were saying you had a funny story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, you mentioned Plenty of Fish. So we did one of our podcasts when we didn't have anyone to interview, is we drank, and then at the time of our podcast, we both signed up for Plenty of Fish. And so we went through the process, and we, asked the questions and we answered the questions. So we filled out the application during one of our podcasts.
Nice.
And so one of the things was we were going to then follow up with the dates we went on and see, and it never went beyond the one episode.
That's not how I met who I'm currently seeing.
Right.
Gotcha.
So we had fun with it. We had fun with it one night, and then kind of were talking to some people that night after we had been, we made fishbowl drinks.
Yes.
So we both had a fishbowl this big of a drink.
Nice.
We barely put a dent in, and it just was one of those nights. So
well, the question is, were you catfished?
No.
Nope.
Well,
I haven't been back on. I don't know.
Yeah, there was probably some attempts, but no, never really followed through.
We never did. It was going to be like every week we're going to talk about who we went on a date with, or if we got any hits, and we just like months later, we're like, oh, we haven't even looked. So we just forgot. It died, but it was a fun episode. It was fun.
Yeah.
You guys run a fun show. I mean, this has been great.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time. We really do.
And it was a lot of fun. I mean, when you can talk like this and just have a lot of laughs, even though our experience was fairly terrifying.
Well, I can tell you for myself, and I know he would agree, just listening to you talk about the art of filmmaking is so interesting that, I mean, I could sit and listen forever. So
we'd love to come back.
Yeah, anytime. That's what I was just going to say. If you ever want to come back, just let us know. And
I feel like I so geek out about that stuff. Like, just for me, the most life affirming aspects of this as a storyteller was matching music to picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Having just the right hit at just the right time in the music. Oh, that means it's like, oh, this is why I wanted to be a filmmaker as a little kid, was to see this magic come together with the story, with the performances, with the picture, with the music, and it just touches your heart. So I geek out about that.
I'm glad you brought that up, because our composer, we actually hired a woman named Lisa Liu. She studied strings at Juilliard for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
She is an amazing musician, and she composed all of our music original. It's all original music.
But we have 2 covers that she recorded of classical music.
But she covered it.
Pieces.
Yeah. So the Moldau's in it.
The Moldau, and then the Winter by Vivaldi.
Yeah. So those are in it. But she did all of that orchestration, and then we initially wanted to get the song by Elvis Presley, "Can't Help Falling in Love," as the musical motif for our movie.
But we just wanted to get the rights, not to his recording, but to the sheet music, so she could, incorporate it into the score, and then in the singing and the scene in the theater and all that.
Okay.
It was $30,000.
It was estimated. We never really got a response, actually.
The estimate was $30,000 to get the rights, and we're like,
right?
Guess what? You're not just painting the painting.
You're writing the song.
So she wrote the song and they
Nice.
composed it together, and Lorissa sang it beautifully in the movie. And there it is. You know, I had somebody from India wondering if they could get the soundtrack.
Oh, wow.
It really tied the film together. It really did. Yeah,
Well, I like hearing
I
that, 'cause
noticed
that
that.
That was the big question for me is, oh my God, is this going to seem so out of the blue? And are people going to say this is the dumbest thing in the world? I hope not.
No.
But you don't know until it all comes together sometimes.
You just got to put it out there what you feel is right at the time, right? I mean, that's what you felt. So perfect. No, I really enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Thank
So
you.
for anybody who's listening, can I put a little plug for our movie? Do you mind?
Absolutely.
Well,
Yes.
we're
Promote.
gonna tell you.
Yeah.
Plug everything you guys are working on, and absolutely.
Okay, so we are now streaming on Amazon Prime,
Mhm.
Tubi TV, Apple Play,
Apple
TV, Google Play, and IMDb TV,
Mhm.
right? So you can watch that movie anywhere. You can get it for free with your Prime subscription. It's also streaming for free on Tubi, but it's
And
with
IMDb
commercials
TV.
and IMDb TV. So please watch it. Please tell your friends. It's really an interesting. I'm not tooting my own horn here, but we're averaging 4.5 stars out of 5 on Prime right now.
At
People
the
are
very
really
least, check
enjoying
out
it.
the trailer.
Yeah, check out the trailer.
There
If
you go.
you like it, please tell your friends. Leave us a rating. Write us a review. That would be great. If you hate it, tell all your enemies to watch it.
So again, the title is The Misadventures of Mistress Maneater.
Perfect. And you got 2 rave ratings right here. So
You guys are amazing.
Did you
Thank
guys
so
rate it
much.
and review it for us?
I have not, but I
Not-
will, because I know how important it is. And I
yes,
I feel
It
like a
is.
hypocrite when I ask people to do that for the podcast and then I don't do it. So I will go do it.
I will
It
do
is
it. Yeah.
important.
Yeah, it
Because
is.
the reason it's important, just so you know, is that the more ratings and reviews and streams, the closer to the front of the thumbnail carousel on Prime they put us.
So we can be closer to like 120 instead of 280.
Yeah, so
There you
people
go.
are more inclined to watch a movie that's in the first 50 or 100
Yeah.
rather than
Right.
scrolling 300 back. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Sure. Okay.
That's
Well, then
what it's
we'll definitely do. I'll do that as well. I meant more just as we were talking that I enjoyed the movie a lot. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely
Thank
go
you
on
so
and rate
much.
it. Absolutely. And cannot thank you enough for coming on and talking with us.
It was a genuine pleasure, Ted. Seriously.
I have to admit, I was a little exhausted today before we came on the podcast.
And now she's energized.
And you guys just made it worthwhile. So thanks
Good.
for running a wonderful podcast.
Yeah. If
today.
you guys ever have a podcast where you don't have guests, let us know. We'll join you. Seriously.
Sounds great. Thank you so
There's
much.
plenty of other very strange things we can talk about, like when I got hired to be a Victorian caroler at a Santa funeral for a Santa who didn't exist.
Okay.
Well, just like your movie, it takes a lot of twists and it's
Exactly.
never awesome. Okay. All right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
We
Thanks,
appreciate it.
everybody.
guys.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. The tavern is closed for now, but we'd love to have you back for more fun next time. Seriously though, get your asses out of here.